Guys, something terrible is happening to the EV market, but if you're an investor, this could be a great opportunity for you in electric vehicles. Let's go look at the history of electric vehicles. Because remember, just a few years ago, look back at our videos when we were criticizing EV and Tesla, and not just Tesla, a ton of EV companies. People said, Paul, you don't get it. This is changing the world. And what I always said was, cars change the world, airplanes change the world, computers change the world, .coms change the world, real estate changed the world, electric vehicles, all these things changed the world. And guess what happened? Eventually, the market for them went soft. The hype stopped. Now, it is interesting, though. If you look at the graphs over what's happened in the recent 3 and 5 years, it's pretty interesting. Let me pull up the 5-year chart for EV. Now, I just pulled up some major EV companies, okay? Tesla, Nikola, Workhorse, NIO, BYD, Fisker. Now, these are the ones that really got a lot of the attention in the last 3 years. You can see at the peak here, which is around February of 2021, if you'd bought all of these companies back in 5 years ago, 2018, you'd be up 1,400%, 130%, 4,600%. Look at that, Workhorse, 4,600%, 750, 478, and 51.5%. You'd be like, I'm crushing it here. I'm doing awesome. Remember all the criticism we got from that Stock Mo channel about Workhorse, and we said, this is garbage. They said, oh, you don't get it. And we looked pretty effing stupid right here. Remember these videos? I remember ARK being the big one in February of 2021. People saying, Paul, she has a fund. You don't. You're an idiot. I said, okay, sounds good. Now let me show you something interesting. Now remember, in order to have made this money, you had to be early. You had to see this EV thing happening. Now, Tesla was killing it back here in 2018, but these others weren't. And if you look at it, actually, Tesla was the second highest out of all these EV companies from 2018 to 2021. Now, let me pull up the 3-year chart since 2021. This is all the returns since 2021. Tesla is down 28%. Nikola is down 96%. Workhorse is down 98.5%. NIO is down 87%. BYD, the one backed by Buffett, is up 8%. And Fisker is down 99.3%. Now, that's since the hype. So when we were warning, we were sitting there saying, guys, guess what? I'm not going to be right. But I remember looking at going, how much revenue do these guys have? These major ones, their revenue is terrible. Now, by the way, the funny part is, look at Fisker. Their revenue is light years ahead of where it was before. Now, going back to the 5-year chart, here's what's interesting. If you'd bought 5 years ago and stuck with it, you'd still be up a ton. You'd be up 758% on Tesla. You'd be up 350% on BYD. And the rest you'd be down on 12%, 70%, 94, and 98. So you'd still be up because you made a killing in these. Even if these went to zero, you're still up a lot. But again, I repeat, it means 2 things. 1, you were early to the EV market. Nobody was talking about how big EV was. It was just Tesla back in 2018. And 2, as you saw this happening, you still stuck with it. We did a video the other day about Meet Kevin because we attacked him in 2021 about how he didn't understand business and investing. He said we were crazy, etc. And guess what? Since then, Tesla is down like 30%. 30% since then. Now, we missed it on Tesla very early. I get that. And Tesla has absolutely skyrocketed. But guys, since this point right here, Tesla's revenue and profit are up a ton. A ton. So fundamentally, it's a better company. But yet the stock is down how much since then? 28% since then. Even though the fundamentals are better. Now, is this just for EVs? No, but this is what I'm trying to teach. It's about every investment is the present value of all future cash flow. And EV absolutely has changed the world. But if you see right now, EV is softening right now. The demand for electric vehicles is softening. And all we said was, guys, it sounds great and awesome, but eventually it'll be okay. Spoiler alert, I think the same thing's going to happen with AI. AI will change the world, in my opinion. It already has. It's been around for decades. It's getting better and better. But we believe the hype surrounding AI is too much to justify good investments. And eventually it'll dissipate, and then the opportunities will arise. But when you have a company like NVIDIA, a multi-$100 billion company going up 300, 400, 500% in 1 year, you got to question, is this normal? Is this rational? So let me show you the history of the 2 biggest industries, cars and airlines and airplanes, going back to 1920. Guys, Back in 1920, there were 8 million registered vehicles. There are now 275 million registered vehicles. Actually, that was in 2020. Airlines, how many people flew in 1920? How many people flew airline in 1920 versus today? Let me show you a nice little list. Guys, this is on Wikipedia. List of defunct airlines in the United States. This is just letters A through C. A through C. I'm just scrolling, guys. And I'm not even a fifth of the way through the page of A through C. This is what I mean when I sit there and say that it can't just be a growing industry. It has to be about the fundamentals of the business. And even though somebody enters a great business, a great industry, does not mean they're going to succeed. I'm almost done with A through C. A through C, guys. I'm still going. Still going. Oh, there we go. Finally hit the end. Again, this is just letters A, B, and C. That's it. We haven't even done the rest of the 23 letters of the alphabet. All right, let's go to list of defunct automobile companies. Okay, let's start. Now, this is going to be less, but this is the entire list, I believe. This is defunct automobile companies, because the difference is we have it on 3 columns here. So we're just going through car businesses, and a lot of them started in the early 1900s. A lot of them started in the early 1900s when it was all booming. Look at that. Look at that. Guys, even the Lonely X right here, the only company that had an X, 1901, 1902, RIP. Guys, please don't tell me that airlines and cars did not change the world bigger than AI will. I really do believe cars and it made the world so much smaller. I get in an airplane pretty much once every 4 or 5 weeks. My life is totally different because of airlines. This is an incredible business. This is an incredible opportunity out there. But when run poorly or when too many people saturate it, it leads to I think it's something like only 1 car company in the history of the world has not declared bankruptcy. Again, if I were to go back to 1910 and I were to tell you there are going to be 300 million vehicles registered in this country in 100 years, what people said, oh my God, what a great industry to be in. I'm going all in. When you have how many millions of people fly commercial every single day? Let's look at that. This is the FAA website. 2.9 million passengers fly every day in and out of US airports. So I went back in time 100 years and said, guys, in 2024, there's going to be 2.9 million people just in the US every single day. Remember, there were 8 million cars registered in 1920. So this is over a third of the people every single day. You'd think, oh my God, this is a crushing business. I got to get into it. We saw the list of airlines, A through C, that have gone under. CEO of our company, Tim, asked me just before we made this video, Paul, what made you think of this video idea? Because I thought of this video idea, and I don't remember what it was. I think I saw some post on Instagram, whatever it was, and I thought, let me go see how these EV companies have done. The hard part is, the reason I wanted to teach this one is, it was so recent. It was this thing that can't miss. I remember literally getting in arguments with people about Tesla, and them saying, if I'm going to bet on anything, it would be Tesla. People that were smart, wealthy people. And 3 years later, the stock is down 20 or 30%. And the fundamentals have gone better. You know, I always bring examples of Intel, Cisco, and some other companies back in 2000. But it's so far removed that people would say, well, that was a different time. This is way different. This is 3 years ago. So I thought to myself, this is a great learning lesson, especially as we transition into AI and people talking about crypto. And I look at these things thinking to myself, now, I'd much rather own NVIDIA than some crypto in crypto's present form. But that's why I thought of this. It's a great learning experience. And guys, you're watching this video for exactly this reason. You want to make more money. And I've always said that to be a good investor, you need to have confidence. And how do you get confidence? Having the right process coupled with having the emotional fortitude. This takes emotion right here. I didn't waver. I sat there and said, there's too much hype here. Getting blasted by everybody. And I was like, this is too much hype. This is way too much hype. I mean, I'm a public platform here. We didn't have 230,000 subscribers back here. We've grown since then and just getting And then it's so funny. We sometimes go back and we'll message people who criticized us and said, oh man, your message really stood the test of time here, huh? This is hard to do. But this is why I created our community, because we are the product of the people we surround ourselves with. I want people to come in here and feel comfortable asking the right questions. I want people in here because it's out there. Being an investor these days is such a lonely, lonely road. If you don't have anybody around you who doesn't think the correct way, and you You might sit there and say, Paul, this made sense when you said this, but I didn't have anybody talk about it. That's why I created the community. Because the hardest part is managing your emotions. You can have the right thought of numbers, but if you see a stock going down and you don't have the emotional fortitude to keep it, that's going to be hard for you. And that's why our community is so useful. It allows people to go in there, interact, and talk, and sit there and say, hey, I'm thinking this. And people will criticize, but in a very productive way. It won't be criticism, it'll be more engagement. Listen, there are people in there that don't agree with me on crypto and Tesla. We have great conversations still. And the best thing that happened to me since starting this community and the software is realizing I'm definitely not the best investor, even in this community. I have definitely met better investors now that I bounce my ideas off of. In fact, I hired one. Dalton is a great investor. I told him the other day, I'm like, yeah, you're a better investor than me. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, yes, you are. And we invested the millions of dollars into this because we use it every single day. I use it. Mo uses it. Dalton uses it. Everybody in the company uses it. And I realized long ago that every successful person can be one or two connections, great connections away from changing their life. Buffett always says the best thing you can do is invest in yourself. So again, that's why I created this. So guys, if you haven't seen it, go to everythingmoney.com or click the link below. We have a great promotion running, $7 for 7 days. Get in the community, get a feel for it. You get all the software. It's a no-brainer. And that's one connection away from changing your life. So what does this mean about the future? All it means, guys, is I just want you to be cautious. That's all I want you to do about AI. Whenever you see something really hyped, just be cautious. That's the mentality I want you to have. EV, we just said, people, be cautious here. What has to happen? We sat there and said, what has to happen for these companies to work out properly? Listen, I still don't believe Tesla's in my price range, but friend of the channel, Professor Oswath, I think he values a Tesla at 180, and he's a buyer. More power to him. More power to him. But Tesla hit a high of 414, and we sat there and we do the numbers and saying, what does Tesla have to do every year to justify this? Because in the short run, stocks are a voting machine. In the long run, they're a weighing machine. What that means is, in the short run, what's popular is going to go up. What's not popular is going to go down. But in the long run, the fundamentals of the business are going to come through. Peter Lynch says there's a 100% correlation between business profit and stock price. I don't think it's really 100%, but what he's trying to say is if you pay a reasonable price today for a company, if the profit 10x's, you're probably going to see a 10x in your investment. That's basically what it means. And it's 100% true. That is true. Now, back here, I didn't see the justification for Tesla. Okay, I missed it. Now, I didn't believe they're going to grow like they did, and they've grown insane amounts. And I also didn't see the emotion of the market skyrocketing like this. So guys, I'm just trying to make these videos to have you have a different way of thinking. I'm never going to tell you, go buy this, don't go buy that. What I'm trying to say to you, actually, I have said don't go buy something. What I will say to you is, what has to happen for this stock price to be justifiable? And it's going to help you on the way down. Because as the stock goes down, but the fundamentals are getting better, I'm going to say, listen, don't declare you're right or wrong in investment based on where the short-term price goes. Based on where the long-term fundamentals go, and eventually the stock price will follow. And if you want to see the companies that I do want to own in the future because their businesses are great, watch our next video on the 30 companies I want to own.